Back in 1613, the legal scholar Edward Coke wrote that corporations have no souls, they are invisible, immortal, and resteth only on intendment and consideration of the law. A corporate body, Edward Coke said, can't, quote, do fealty for an individual body, cannot be in person, nor can swear. So this is how corporations were viewed in the 17th century, as, soulless entities that had basically, perhaps were needed in society, but, we're not part of society. I mean, it's a corporation, for God's sake. Well, the Supreme Court just chose to take a case that is going to take dark money and corporate power and billionaire power to a new high that is, in all probability, unlike anything we have ever seen in America before. And they're doing this, they're bringing this case before a court that now has 6 justices that have been, I believe all 6 of them, it could just be the last 3 specifically, but that have been selected and put forward by Leonard Leo and his Federalist Society. We'll get to that in a minute. And, there's every chance that the Supreme Court is going to rule against you and me and in favor of these billionaires in this case. Let me tell you about this. Now that we've got a stacked court. Back in 2010, of course, the Supreme Court doubled down on their Buckley versus Vallejo and First National Bank versus Bellotti decisions of the 70s, where they for the first time in the history of the United States, in 1976, they said, when a billionaire gives enough money to a politician that it basically becomes their principal source of support, when a billionaire basically owns a politician, we used to call that corruption or bribery, but now, officially, the Supreme Court says we should call that free speech. 2 years later, in the Bellotti decision, a decision written by Lewis Powell of the Powell Memo fame, the Supreme Court added to that corporations. Hey, corporations are persons too. They have First Amendment rights also. Really? So, that blew up. I mean, there was a law passed in 1907. This was Teddy Roosevelt was behind this, the Tillman Act. The Tillman Act in 1907 said it was illegal. It was a federal crime for any corporation to give any kind of money or other support to any candidate for federal office. The Supreme Court struck it down with these decisions and with Citizens United. It no longer applies. So now, in this case is being brought by the FreedomWorks Foundation. FreedomWorks is the group that brought us the Tea Party that was, I believe, started and heavily funded by the Koch network, Charles and David Koch. David has now passed away. But and they have a 501c3 or C4, I'm not sure which arm. They have a nonprofit arm, which is the FreedomWorks Foundation. And they are bringing this case along with another corporation that, hang on just a second, I'm looking for the name of it. Well, I'll get to that in a minute. Oh, the Thomas More Law Center. It's the Thomas More Law Center, which describes itself as a Christian conservative nonprofit. So now we don't just have 2 corporations demanding corporate free speech. The essence of this case is that these 2 nonprofit corporations, the FreedomWorks Corporation and the Thomas More Law Center, are arguing that they should be able to conceal from the public who subsidize them because they're nonprofit, right? You and I pay for their police, you and I pay for their fire, you and I pay for their use of the public roads, you and I pay for their use of the internet, I pay for the courts. In fact, you and I pay for the very Supreme Court that they are bringing this case before. You and I pay for all of this for them. We subsidize the Koch Foundation and we subsidize the Thomas More Law Center. And now they are saying in this case that the Supreme Court just agreed to hear This was just a couple days ago. The Supreme Court agreed to hear this. They are saying we should be able to influence politics. This is already established that we can influence politics, that we can give money to politicians, we can pour millions, hundreds of millions of dollars if necessary. You'll recall Mitch McConnell in the last 2 weeks of the big race down in Georgia, out of a nonprofit that he runs, poured $50 million into that race against Ossoff and Warnock. We should be able to influence politics, but not just that. The people behind us, the people who are giving us money, whether those people are, the Koch brothers, or those people are some real estate billionaire in Arizona, or whether those people are oil oligarchs that made their money doing business with Venezuela or Iran or Saudi Arabia, or even if those people, even if they're not U.S. citizens, we should not have to disclose to the American people who is funding our organization. This is a complete transition. I mean, I wrote about this, 6 months ago, a year ago, when I was writing my new book, which will be out in like a week, The Hidden History of American Oligarchy. I laid out this scenario as probable, and that this is how democratic republics get turned into oligarchies. An oligarchy is ruled by the rich. And now we have two nonprofit corporations saying the billionaires who pay our bills should not have to suffer from having their names be made public, because then those awful liberals will try to shame them. Oh my God. It doesn't get weirder or more bizarre than this.